afternoon. You're watching ABC News GH. I am Abna Mante. Coming up in the headlines. Leadership of the New Patriotic Party set to meet tomorrow to decide the outcome and way forward in the Wale Wale primaries following violence disruption of counting yesterday. Still to come, Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC says the party does not trust the EC to cleanse the voter register. Also in this bulletin, President of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, Osagyefo Osiadeayo Agyeman-Badu II, has issued a 1-month ultimatum to the government to halt illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey, in the country. Thank you for joining us on ABC News GH. Stay with us. Thank you for joining us. We are live on YouTube at ABC News GH. The New Patriotic Party leadership will convene a crucial meeting tomorrow, September 10, to discuss the rerun elections in Wale Wale. According to Evans Nimako, the party's director of elections, the meeting aims to ensure a peaceful and violence-free election of the parliamentary candidates. Speaking exclusively to ABC News GH, Evans Nimako assured that the party is committed to bringing an end to the violence that marred the primaries between incumbent Hajia Lariba Zuwaira, former gender minister, and her opponent, Dr. Tia Karibu Mahama, technical advisor at the office of the vice president. The NPP leadership is expected to issue a statement outlining the next steps to guarantee a tranquil and democratic election process. This move comes as a response to the tensions and clashes that characterized the initial primaries, which raised concerns about the party's internal cohesion. Governance expert Dr. Frederick Odro has condemned the violent clashes that have characterized the NPP parliamentary primaries in Wale Wale. Confusion marred the rerun of the NPP Wale Wale parliamentary primary on Monday, September 9, when an individual identified as Police Kamara Bawa snatched ballot papers during sorting, resulting in some ballots being destroyed. Speaking on ABC in the morning show with Epifania Jokotogligui, Dr. Odro stated that such happenings indicate a failure by people who pretend to be leading political parties and its activities.
Let me begin by condemning in no uncertain words what happened in Wale Wale. I mean, you ask yourself, in which age are we living in? That you go about snatching ballots, you go about creating chaos in such a situation. It shows the immaturity of some of our key political actors. And the sad part of it is that these are the people who are supposed to be at the forefront of our politics. And if they can behave like this, you ask yourself, what would other people far below them? Let me begin by condemning in no uncertain words what happened in Wale Wale.
Still on elections, the Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, has said that the NDC does not trust the Electoral Commission alone to address the concerns they have raised about the voter register. The National Democratic Congress is among the challenges identified with the drafted voter register. The party is seeking a forensic audit of the register. However, Dr. Rashid Tanko says that the NDC does not trust the EC alone, and says that the EC cannot be trusted to conduct a forensic audit of the voter register. He spoke on ABC in the morning with Epifania Jokotogligui.
Of course, they are the people who caused the mess. And I'm saying that they intentionally caused the mess, thinking that we will not see it. They didn't expect the NDC to see this, use our eagle eye to see what the mess they've created in the register. But we saw the mess. We presented it to them. Is it their first time of doing this kind of thing? You remember in 2023, when they did the district assembly election, almost 26,000 people names could not be found in the register.
Well, we'll definitely...
Of course, they are the people who caused the mess. And I'm saying that they intentionally caused the mess, thinking that we will not see it. They didn't expect the NDC to see this, use our eagle eye to see what the mess they've created in the register. But we saw the mess. We presented it to them. Is it their first time of doing this kind of thing? You remember in 2023, when they did the district assembly election, almost 26,000 people names could not be found in the register.
Meanwhile, governance expert Dr. Frederick Ojo has called for the political parties to trust the local system to resolve issues cited with the voter register ahead of the 2024 elections. Reacting to the NDC's calls for a forensic audit of the voter register and further decision to embark on a demonstration on September 17, the governance expert said political parties should focus on using the existing systems rather than resorting to rhetoric to resolve the current issues with the voter register.
Forced to have their way through. I mean, looking at the whole process is such a mess, and it is so unacceptable that it should be condemned. But I think NPP as a political party needs to educate their members. So, I mean, it's interesting that even PNC at their national election were experiencing something close to this. It should tell us there's a failure by those who pretend to be leading the political process in this country as to how we should play the political game. If they don't understand the process, they should back off for those who understand to be part of the process. And once again, let me condemn what has happened. It should never be tolerated.
Away from elections, Professor Francis Hasford, the Director of Radiological and Medical Sciences at GAEC, highlighted on ABC in the morning the health risk associated with Galamsey activities. He emphasized that the contamination of water bodies by heavy metals from illegal mining is a significant factor contributing to cancer. Dr. Hasford stressed that the factors resulting from Galamsey, which involves the pollution of water bodies and soil with toxic heavy metals, can be harmful to the body.
Come to the environmental factors, which really is one of the key things that we need to pay attention to, is where we are polluting our water bodies and the soil with what is called the heavy metals. And these heavy metals are elements that are poisonous to the body. Right? If you take in heavy metals and exceed some limits, then you are poisoning the body, you are killing the body in a very fast pace, and you are predisposing the body to develop these cancers.
Professor Hasford also mentioned that the water utilized for irrigating crops in regions affected by illegal mining seeps into the ground, polluting the food grown there, which contributes to the incidence of cancer.
The elements that we classify as heavy metals, we have mercury. Mercury is one of them. And these elements that I'm mentioning are the ones that are being used, heavily being used in Galamsey activities. Mercury, cyanide, we have lead, and then we have arsenic. So, and these are the elements that are mostly being used for Galamsey activities. And so as they are washed into our water bodies, and then they feed into the areas where we have our food baskets coming from. So when we grow these food substances, the water that is used to water these elements, they seep into the soil, and then so the food produce that comes from are all being contaminated. And that is how come when we eat such substances, then we are predisposing ourselves to developing cancers.
Still on Galamsey, the president of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, Osagyefo Osiadeyo Agyeman-Badu II, has issued a 1-month ultimatum for the government to halt illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, in the country. Osagyefo Osiadeyo Agyeman-Badu II, who doubles as the Domahene and also serves as a High Court judge, warned that failure by the government to act would force the chiefs to rise and reclaim their lands. He served the notice when the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, paid a courtesy call on him as part of his campaign tour of the region. Away from Galamsey, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has criticized the government's district road improvements program DRIP, claiming it was not well thought through. The DRIP is designed to empower metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies with the necessary resources and equipment to rehabilitate and maintain roads within their areas. This initiative aligns with the government's commitment to decentralize and provide local authorities with the tools to effect meaningful change. However, during his address at the Bono Regional House of Chiefs as part of his campaign tour, the NDC flag bearer argued that the initiative was hastily implemented by the ruling party to score political points. Staying with us, let's look at some business news. News as Ghana approaches a crucial election season and the Yuletide, concerns over the stability of the local currency, the cedi, continues to mount. Professor Patrick Esume, an economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, has highlighted the grim outlook for the cedi. In an interview on ABC in the morning, he expressed pessimism about any significant recovery for the cedi, stating that he does not think we should expect any gains from the cedi. Professor Esume further stated that expecting a cedi appreciation might be unrealistic given the current economic climate. He acknowledged the broader economic pressures, noting that the strength of the dollar this year has exacerbated the situation.
An expectation of a cedi appreciation is a little misplaced. Okay. I don't think we should be expecting that the cedi will gain. It's a matter of, how quickly it will lose. And also, I think the dollar itself has been on a tear. The dollar has been extremely strong this year. So it's not just Ghana that has been feeling the after effect, except that because of our peculiar position and the structure of our economy, we tend to see more pressure on our currency because we are also extremely import dependent. So, I don't think we should be expecting that the cedi is going to gain. we just have to hope that it doesn't lose as much as quickly as it has at some point.
The Economist also pointed out that Ghana's import reliance exacerbates the impact on the cedi, making it more vulnerable to fluctuations. He emphasized the challenges faced by the nation due to its heavy reliance on imports and advised that to address the persistent depreciation of the cedi, a long-term fix is essential. He has advocated for reducing import reliance, particularly food products that Ghana should produce domestically, highlighting the pressing need for a shift to bolstering domestic manufacturing.
Sometimes we can get some short-term fixes, mostly in the form of inflows. But over the medium to long term, we know what we have to do is to find ways to cut imports, especially some of the things that we import, some food items that we import that it's obvious that we really shouldn't be importing. We should be able to produce them ourselves. But those things take a long time. And then the other thing is how the economy is excessively dependent on foreign financing, both official sources and the bilateral. And
away from business, let's do some sports. Black Stars coach Otto Addo insists that qualification for the 2025 African Cup of Nations remains in Ghana's control, despite a 1-1 draw against Niger on Monday. The result leaves Ghana 5 points behind group leaders Angola after 2 games in the AFCON qualifying series. Otto Addo's side conceded a late equalizer, marking another disappointing result following their 1-0 defeat to Angola. I am disappointed we didn't learn the lessons from the home defeat to Angola, and we need to do better for sure, Otto Addo said. Qualification is still in our own hands and we can do something about it. We will, however, have to win our remaining games. Ghana sits in 3rd place, 2 points behind 2nd place Sudan, whom they will face twice in October. The top 2 teams in the group will qualify for AFCON, which is set for December 2025 to January 2026. The Black Stars last missed out on AFCON qualification in 2004. Let's take a look at some international news. On the international front, Apple has lost its fight to dodge a $14.4 billion tax bill following a ruling by Europe's top court on Tuesday, which dealt a blow to the world's most valuable company just a day after the iPhone maker unveiled a host of product upgrades. The European Court of Justice also upheld a $2.6 billion antitrust fine against Google in a separate decision. The two ECJ rulings are final, which means the companies cannot appeal them. The decisions highlight the European Union's tough stance on big tech, which in recent years has extended to enacting sweeping regulations by the European Commission, which found that Ireland had granted Apple unlawful state aid that it was required to recover. According to the estimates by the EU's executive arm, Ireland has given Apple illegal tax benefits worth 13 billion euros. The Commission said at the time that Apple had benefited from 2 Irish tax rulings for more than 2 decades that artificially reduced its tax burden to as low as 0.005% in 2014. Apple challenged the ruling, and the EU's General Court, the ECJ's lower level court, upheld the challenge in 2020, saying regulators had not met the legal standard to show that Apple had enjoyed an unfair advantage. But on Tuesday, September 9, the ECJ's higher court of justice set aside the judgment of the General Court and sided with the Commission. That's all for international news. Let's look at some entertainment news. Wanderlust Ghana is set to embark on an ambitious 30,000-kilometer journey spanning 3 months and covering 30 countries from Monday, September 30, 2024. In 2023, the team did 10,000 kilometers from Accra through many African countries to London in the United Kingdom through other European countries. Their new ambition was disclosed at a vibrant send-off celebration held at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, organized by the Ghana Tourism Authority on Sunday, September 8th. Speaking at the launch, the CEO of Wanderlust Ghana, Kwabena Pepra, said, "For us, this time around, it's about making Ghana a tourist destination for most foreigners," Pepra emphasized. That's all for the news. But before we go, a recap of our headlines. Leadership of the New Patriotic Party set to meet tomorrow to decide the outcome and way forward in the Wale Wale primaries following violence disruption of counting yesterday. Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC says the party does not trust the EC to cleanse the voter register. President of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, Osagyefo Osiadeayo Agyeman-Badu II, has issued a 1-month ultimatum to the government to halt illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey, in the country. Thank you for joining us. For more news, visit us on www.abcnewsgh.com. We are live on social media. Interact with us at abcnewsgh_. I am Abuna Mante. Thank you for joining us.